Oil, coffee, diamonds, sand. Every country has its own special natural resources. Latvia's great wealth is its forests. Over 50% of the country is covered by this renewable resource, which renews itself again and again. Because half of Latvia's forest land is owned by the state, every citizen of Latvia owns a share of the forest. The state forests are managed by us, the joint stock company Latvia's State Forests. This film shares the whats, whys, and hows of forest management in Latvia. Our work influences a lot. Quality of life, our country's economy, and the ecosystem. As a result, we have many stakeholders, some concerned about ecology, others interested in cost-effective heating options, others concerned about logging activities near their homes. Still others look upon us as employers. Our work is closely followed by competitors on the global market, while many locals want to know how we contribute to the country's budget. Everyone deserves attention, yet the most crucial voice belongs to nature itself. A full 1/5 of the state-owned forests are ruled not by human laws, but those of nature. Many people would be surprised to learn that the beautiful forest, with its footpaths, heather lawns, and pine rows, is tended by humans. True wilderness starts where the path disappears into the marshes, where the tangled branches prevent the most persistent mushroomers from entering. Here we don't cut the peat, lay roads, cut down or plant trees. These places are reserved for the growth of diverse species. Here, rare biotopes and wildlife benefiting from preservation are free to reproduce their species. Among the lichens, running toads, caltrops, grebes, and dormice, you'll also find our natural scientists. Don't scare them. Not many places in Europe are like this. With 1/5 of state forests, Latvia is one of the few. If we had recreation areas and forest protective zones, then economic activity is limited or prohibited in 25% of our forests. Of course, we care about nature in places where logging is carried out also. Let's have a look at this. Forests could easily survive without humans. Not so for humans, who could not survive without forests. Not to mention the oxygen we breathe. Wood. It means eco-friendly housing, furniture, paper, as well as rural jobs and income. Over 6,000 people work in our state forests, planting and cultivating forests, building and maintaining roads, or harvesting trees. This forest industry provides work for carpenters, builders, furniture manufacturers, fuel producers, transporters, and others. In Latvia, about 80,000 people work in these sectors. Over the last 10 years, LVM has contributed more than €500 million in dividends and various taxes to the Latvian economy, helping pay for pensions, schools, healthcare, festivals, and other core needs. Latvia's export balance has improved by almost €2 billion. The key to such results? Our development. We begin with people. The woodcutter and his axe in Little Red Riding Hood is a storybook figure. Today's forest workers are educated to understand the processes of nature, plan work in the long term, and use the most modern forestry machinery, forwarders and harvesters. Today's work team is not a 30-man army who resides in nearby villages for months on end, but groups of 3 to 4 professionals. Forestry machinery and geographic information systems are smarter and more efficient than ever. Even trees themselves are developing. Scientists are working to develop new, fast-growing species. To help forests renew faster after logging, we cultivate nearly 50 million high-quality tree seedlings in huge greenhouses each year. Finally, state forests are managed today using a 7-year cycle. Its efficiency has been recognized in several countries, such as Sweden, Estonia, Ireland, and others. To allow forests to retain and even increase the amount of trees, to reduce operational costs and increase profits, and to minimize disturbances of people and nature. How is that possible? By optimizing work and caring for nature. This is the goal of the 7-year cycle. Not sure how it's possible to cut and still care for trees? Let's compare the forest to a cornfield. If we always want to get a good harvest, we have to ensure that the plants feel good. In our case, this means taking care of forests at all levels, from soil, moss and mushrooms, to birds nesting in the highest treetops. Sure, the forest is an ecosystem, so things are much more complicated and much slower than in a cornfield. We cut a tiny part of the tree harvest only once every 7 years. That's why it's called the 7-year cycle. But now let's take a closer look. We've divided the state forest territory into planning units, each sized about 3,000 hectares. This division corresponds with the road networks we need to transport a lot of heavy loads. The first year of the cycle is dedicated to preparations and planning. We repair roads and drainage systems. As we plan, we mark the territories not to be touched, protected areas, recreation areas, protective zones around bodies of water, and populated areas. And then we mark several wood felling sites on the map, around 5% of the remaining forest area. The second year brings noisy cutting and the moving of timber. We mainly cut fully grown or overgrown trees which have already begun to age. A lot of uncut trees, bushes and branches remain on the ground. It's not negligence, but care for plants and animals. Bushes and branches hide caves and delves, which provide a living place for moss, lichen and insects, while so-called ecological trees serve as multi-story houses for woodpeckers, eagles, squirrels, bugs and other inhabitants. In year 3 at the cutting site, we prepped the soil for planting the young forest stand using special tools to help young trees adapt. We perform necessary jobs in nearby territories, thinning out young forests where the trees are too dense. Remaining trees thus will grow bigger and stronger. In year 4, we plant 2 new trees for each one we've cut. If needed, roads are repaired and drainage systems improved. In years 5, 6, and 7, we tend the young forest and thin it out. With proper care, it grows faster and better. Within 7 years, then, we finished harvesting, delivered timber to Latvian sawmills, repaired roads, and created a young forest stand, now at full growth. This work optimization delivers impressive results. At one time, woodcutter teams would work in a more chaotic fashion. Men would go and cut in one area, then another, with a lot of road repair and moving machinery. Today, with people working the same area for longer periods, fuel use is reduced by 5 million liters per year. This, in turn, means a reduction in CO2 emissions. We keep 11.5 million kilograms of harmful gases from our lungs. Drainage systems and roads, both those of municipalities and the state, are perfectly repaired, but we save over €3 million annually by working in a more concentrated fashion. In total, we save almost €10 million annually for work completed. It would be enough to cover 1/10 of all maternity leave benefits in Latvia. And if we compare the growth rate of trees to total cutting volumes in state forests within the last 10 years, the timber volume in the forests continues to increase. Of course, those encountering wood-felling areas near their residences or places of recreation will be faced with unfamiliar sights and noise. How can we respond? Just as construction crews or plumbers, we're sorry to disturb you. At today's wood-felling site, there will soon be new trees. Of course, soon in the forest means years, not minutes. New trees reach human height in 5 to 6 years. And at least 6 years of peace and silence follow one noisy year. Everyone benefits from effective forest management, with access to recreation areas, eye-pleasing views, and clean air. And there's no need for concern about clean air. Trees in Latvia produce 13 times more oxygen than its inhabitants need for breathing. If need be, all of Greece, Belgium, and Ireland could come breathe our air. It is known that trees attract harmful substances and accumulate CO2. Each wood stool contains a few kilograms of CO2, yet a log cabin, several tons. As trees age, both production and accumulation amounts decrease sharply. Therefore, we work to ensure that new forests replace old trees at the right time. It is a job which brings results after many years. And it's important for us that the next generation can appreciate, understand, and continue our forest work. That's why we help people learn about and love the forest. We produce a variety of interesting study guides about forests. We regularly visit schools to teach students how the forest works. We invite you to visit us, to plant and care for trees, or simply to spend a wonderful day in the forest, where Mama Daba recreation areas await you. In many countries, visitors are banned from using forest roads because of the refuse and garbage people leave in the forest. We believe in the integrity of the Latvian people, but irresponsible folk will meet an influential figure of Latvia's state forests, Pigman, infamous enemy of litterers. We're working hard so everyone can enjoy our forest, deer, mushroom, or humans. Come to our forest. The deeper you go, the richer the oxygen.